insanity is doing the exact same thing over and over again, expecting different results. So somebody may ask, Nderitu, why are you saying this and why are you starting off the video like this? Now, early on today, the Kenya Basketball Federation have released their Team Lioness provisional list and the Kenya Morans provisional squad. So the Team Lioness will play February 2nd to 8th, 2025 in Cairo, Egypt. And the head coach is George Mayenga, assisted by Sylvia Kamau, and they released a list of 23 players, including players who play in the Kenya Basketball Federation Women's Division and players who play outside. And for the men, they also did the same thing. They decided to go ahead and keep Coach Cliff, which was a very huge mistake, which I'm going to get to in this video, and assistant coach Robert Mugabe, I don't know, and Anset Wafula as the other assistant coach. I mean, they released their 23-man provisional list. The venue is yet to be decided by FIBA. They had to announce their venue, and it's February 21st to 23rd for the Window 3 to see who's going to qualify for the 2025 AfroBasket. So this does not come to my surprise because 2 days ago I made a video talking about why are the Kenya Morans quiet? And I feel like that video did some work because 2 days later, today, they managed to release their list. And I must say I'm not that surprised because they were too quiet and they are doing things last minute and hurriedly. And to start off this video, I'm going to start off with the Team Lioness team. I'm going to give you a brief history of what happened. And I'm also going to talk about the Kenya Morans provisional list and the players later on in this video. But first, let's start with the ladies. So the Team Lioness team, the last time they played together was February 2023. That is a whole 2 years ago. And we are now in 2025. And by the dates in which they're supposed to not prepare but also participate, we are seeing that they only have 3 weeks to prepare. And I must say, this is so last minute because they're going to really, really struggle. And you can even not count the last week because that's the week that they're going to have mental preparations, logistics, how they're going to travel there, all that government BS that goes in when they're traveling, all that paperwork. So realistically, they only have like 2 weeks to prepare. And I must say KBF are setting up these players for another failure again. Because how is it that for a whole 2 years, they've never congregated, even after the off season, they've never had their quote unquote team manager, head coach, assistant coach call the ladies up who play for the national team years back to tell them, hey, look, we need to have regular meetings, let's say at the off season, to be able to re-strategize and see how we can improve things. KBF and the leadership there and even the coaching staff, I can say, they will never do that. Everyone, when they close their books for the national team, when they play their last game, they never do anything of that nature. And that is very concerning because we are going to see all the unpreparedness and all the blunders on the court. Because even the last time they played, they got knocked off in the final in that game against Egypt. When they played, they got knocked off. And that time they played in Uganda for the AfroBasket qualifiers, which they failed. And it's very embarrassing because this is a team that is yet to learn anything new. And the coaching staff and the management, they are doing a very poor job at setting up these players and setting up this team to win. And there's not even longevity, even when it comes to even the players that they're selecting. Majority of the time, you're going to see they're selecting players who, yes, they dominate in KBF, but if you look at what they do at the club level, and I'm talking about the players who play for KPA and players who play for Equity, they do virtually nothing. And even players who've played for the national team, they are drawn from those two teams. And I can say they are complete and utter failures at that part. You can see, even if you have continental showdowns with when you have continental showdowns for club teams, you will see that even the players that they have put there, they are very. I can't say. I mean, it's YouTube, but they are very poor when it comes to playing, and they are not good at all. And all this comes down to like the selection and the team selection that goes in when KBF picks these players. Because I feel like they handpick these people just because they know them and they think that they have a big name. But it's not about even if they can play basketball or not. I'm not saying that they can't play basketball. I'm saying they can play basketball, but the scale of the event and the way that they're going to need to play basketball so that they can win, these players are not ready for it at all. And I can say they're going to be set up for failure because they only have 2 weeks to prepare. I'm not counting the last week, as I mentioned earlier, because that's the time they deal with the logistics, and that's when players are going to get cut. And majority of the time, even the players who get listed there, nobody has even reached out to them. Nobody has reached out to them to say, oh, you've been put on the team list. They don't even know that. You put players who are in the US. So you want to say that they're going to fly in and they're playing, or let's say, for example, their league is going on. You're going to ask them to come back, play for the national team, then go back. Who's going to cover all that logistics? Then another excuse that I've seen flying around, especially when they cover national team basketball, when the women go out there and have an abysmal performance, they drop the excuse that we had poor training conditions, we had all these challenges going into this tournament, all that. So my big question is, you have seen all these challenges you're going through. Why don't you just walk away? How difficult it is for you to say, you know what, thank you for putting my name on the list, but this is not something that I want to participate in. Go ahead with the players who are going to play. I'm okay sitting out. Why is it so difficult for you to say that? The players who go ahead and go through those poor conditions, then they come out and start complaining and they start saying, hey, look, I sacrificed. You know how to sacrifice so that you can play? No. You are going there to offer a service and a skill to represent your country. If you feel like the environment is not conducive, walk away. You don't have to subject yourself to humiliation and embarrassment on a continental scale, on foreign soil, representing your country. Then when some people come out and ask you and hold you accountable to why is it that you perform like this, you start complaining and saying you are hating. Like, let's say, for example, like the backlash I got 2 years ago when I talked about the team Lioness. Oh, you're hating. Oh, you're saying things. You're too negative. I'm like, if you didn't participate well and if you didn't prepare well, why do you have to go and embarrass yourself there? It's easy for you to just say, you know what, thank you, and just walk away. You just walk away from this madness, because whatever, even if your name is here, you're going to be set up for failure. And honestly, it's not good for your resume. How is it that you're going to come out from a high? Let's say, for example, you're playing for a very good team. Even the players who play outside in diaspora, they come in, they get subjected to these poor situations. Then they go ahead and lose. And they go ahead and start saying, you know what, we gave it our best. You didn't give it your best. We know. You only have 2 weeks to prepare. And that's it. For AfroBasket qualifiers. And I blame KBF and I blame the team management, because how is it that since 2023, the team Lioness team has never congregated? Even about a year ago, I made a post and I said, how is it that these players for the team Lioness have never congregated? They have never come together and, even had a meeting, not even training, just have a meeting to talk strategy on how to prepare. Because other nations are doing the same. Other nations have been active. So you think that you can beat Egypt or even other teams that are going to be there, or any other teams that are going to prepare, because they have been there. They have been active. The team Lioness team has been so inactive, and this is the first time you're going to see them in 2 years. So please lower your expectations when it comes to this team. And man, I mean, it's rinse and repeat. And Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Now, let's talk about the Kenya Morans national basketball team. So they are slated to play February 21st to the 23rd this next month. And the venue is to be decided. And I went and did some digging, and I saw this last window will be so involving and there will be so many games happening. There'll be about 10 games a day. So a lot of games are going to happen, but that's not the topic of discussion. Now, the Kenya Morans have decided to keep Coach Cliff, and they brought in Robert Mugabe, whoever this guy is, and Ansett Wafula. So honestly, what do you expect? I've said that Coach Cliff has the poorest winning record for the Kenya Morans. I've displayed graphics showing that this guy can't do anything, can't achieve anything for the Kenya Morans. And yet, they insist that this is the man that's going to win it for you. So, when I mentioned that insanity is doing the exact same thing over and over again, expecting different results, remember, Coach Cliff is the coach that has presided over the worst 4-year stretch for the national team ever witnessed. In 14 games that he has coached for the national team since 2020, that's post-pandemic, since 2020 to last year, 2024, the man in 14 games, he has a record of 4 wins and 10 losses. This is the guy that you're trusting with the national team. Whereas you have another coach that has surpassed him in everything in terms of success in Brad Ibbs, but you skipped on him. I don't know if they reached out to him, I don't know. But it's funny to me that Brad Ibbs and Team Thunder and Team Twende and the Thunder management have decided to just give away 10 of their players to the national team, be coached by Coach Cliff. Because if the Kenya Basketball Federation are going to carry on with this impunity, then my advice to Thunder and Twende management is, please, pull away your players. They don't deserve to be embarrassed like this. Let the other, because they believe, KBF believe that in their heart of hearts, this is the right thing to do. My advice to Twende and Thunder, pull away your players. Let's see how they're going to fare without Thunder players. Because how is it that the Thunder players have come from a high, yeah? They have been winning. They won Division East in Rotubal. They went 40-1, yeah, under Brad Ibbs. But you're going to subject these players to the worst preparation conditions, to the worst experience when it comes to the national team. Then you expect them to thrive and succeed the way they thrived at the club level. That's not how it works. And you're seeing the same thing. I talked about legacy players. They keep recycling these players. Even I said it, and I've mentioned it so many times, and I cover this on this channel because if you've been following this channel too long, you'll understand that I've been very consistent when it comes to the Kenya Morans, and I've always mentioned this thing. Legacy players will not win you anything. Who am I talking about? Victor Bosire, Griffin Ligare, Desmond Owili, Bush Wamukota. Those guys need to get out of the team. They need to get out of that team. Arelokal has been good and solid. I am going to say he's good. I'd prefer him to be on the list because with what he was able to do with the Thunder, that's good because at least he has been active. All these other players have not been good. Griffin Ligari got dropped by the Thunder because the scale of the competition and what he brings to a team, they don't go hand in hand. So he got dropped from the team. There are better options, better than Brosire and Griffin. They're better. And I don't even understand why the Kenya Morans decide to just roll with these guys. Is it because they won silver? But if they won silver in 2019, why is it that they didn't even medal in 2023? Why is it that they didn't do anything in 2023? But you insist that these people must be on the team. That's the problem I have. Now, these players are going to be set up to fail again, similar to what happened last year. And remember, the Kenya Morans national team has never been active since February 23rd, 2024. That is almost a year. That's 11 months and some days not active. Now, you're telling these players that you have picked under this incompetent coach, and I won't stop saying that he's incompetent, that they need to go ahead and qualify. Does Coach Cliff have any winning strategy? He has been recycling the same type of play, running the same type of play year in, year out, expecting different results. Do you actually believe, are you confident that Coach Cliff and his coaching philosophy and style will yield you any wins? No. Understand, Tunisia are the defending Afrobasket champions. These are the guys who, in the 2021 Afrobasket, they didn't lose a single game, both in the qualifiers and in the actual Afrobasket. They went and beat everybody. That's the team that you're going to play. We're going to play in that group. A team that is used to winning, a team that hails from North Africa, a team that is elite when it comes to basketball. Not only did they win the Afrobasket title, not once, but twice they went back to back. So you're going to tell me that Coach Cliff, with all of his brain power when it comes to basketball, can be able to measure up to the standard of Tunisia? I don't think so. Actually, going by the performance that we saw last year, they got blown out by 21 points. It was a no contest. And the Kenya Morans had the worst outing in the 3-game span that they played. They didn't know what to do. And Tunisia were just flooring them. It was easy. That was actually the easiest game Tunisia played. I can say that in full confidence because there was no contest there. Now, we've talked about Tunisia. Difficult matchup. Given the strategies that Coach Cliff has, he can't win that one. Now, let's go to Angola. So Angola is a very interesting team. Remember, Angola, we played against Angola. The Kenya Morans played against Angola in the 2021 FIBA Afrobasket qualifiers. So it's kind of poetic that you're playing in the same group again in the 2025 FIBA Afrobasket qualifiers. Now, Angola blew us out when Coach Cliff was there. That game ended in 66-83. It was very embarrassing. And the Kenya Morans did not have any game plan or strategy. And remember, that's the time Coach Cliff was coaching that team. That is way back in the day. And that was that's the worst performance. Actually, it followed the brutal beatdown from Senegal. But I'm not going to talk about Senegal in this video. We're going to talk about Angola. Now, that happened years back. And there was that growing consensus that Kenya can't beat Angola. Now, when Coach Liz Mills was coaching the Morans national team, the Kenya Morans national team in February of 2021, we were able to do the unthinkable by beating Angola 74-73. And that was the start of that beef because of what happened after the game, because of the post-game comments that were made by Coach Liz Mills and Busha Mukota, if you watched it. So Angola have always had that beef with Kenya. And it's true because even after the Angola got beat by the Kenya Morans, the next game they played against Senegal, they blew out and brutally beat Senegal. And it was just anger. And they were like, how is it that this team that has never made it to the Afrobasket could beat us? Now, since that time, Angola have made a decision. Whenever they meet Kenya, they're going to wipe us out. And remember, Angola has been active everywhere. They were in the FIBA World Cup, and the Petro de Luanda team from Angola won the BAL Season 4. So this is a team that is elite, and they know basketball. This is actually arguably the best team in sub-Saharan Africa in terms of basketball, because all the other teams who won the BAL hail from North Africa. And looking at the Angolan side, the team that we played last year in the qualifiers was not even at their strongest. They didn't feel the strongest team, but they still beat us by 30 points. That game ended 88-58. There was no stopping Angola at that point. Neto, a 17-year-old, was just getting to his spots the way he felt like. There was no energy, passion, fight, or desire from the Kenya Morans national team. Now, we have 5 weeks to prepare. And the Kenya Morans have never congregated since that time. I even mentioned it in videos. And even that time when I was recording, I said, now the Kenya Morans have about a year to prepare. That was like a year ago when they played their final game. Where do we go from here? They never listen. This is the time they are congregating again. So it begs the question, do these people really want to qualify? Because right now, the competition is stiff because this is the last window. So every single team is looking towards qualifying. So you can have even a good record, but if you have a very poor point differential, you can get knocked out even despite having a winning record. Let's say, for example, the Kenya Morans go 2-1, and we didn't win those games with a huge margin. We can get dropped. It can happen because you can see the other teams, Tunisia, Angola, they have a better point differential than us. So let's say even if they drop a game and we win a game, let's say by 1 point, even from them, miraculously, how do you think that we are going to... We won't be able to beat the other teams that have a high point differential than us. So all I'm saying is this, right? The Kenya Morans are a total failure. And the Kenya Basketball Federation is setting them up for failure. And my advice to Twente and Thunder management, pull away your Thunder players. They don't deserve this. It is bad. It's the worst thing you can ever do, because they're running things poorly. These are people who clearly don't understand basketball. And for people who are on this provisional squad, let me tell you one thing. You'll only know that you're on the national team when your boarding pass gets printed with your name. That's the only time you know on the national team. These provisional lists mean nothing. We are used to these provisional lists for years now. They keep releasing those provisional lists. We see players who never even show up. There are players who never turn up. There are players who never even get a second glance. And it gets much more embarrassing for players when you keep getting eliminated by the day. You get told, hey, we don't need your services anymore. We don't need you anymore. It's a 10-man roster. It's a 12-man roster. And players are going to get the boot. Like 11 players are going to get the boot. Or 12 players are going to get the boot. They're going to be told, we don't need you. You don't match our play style. And look at the person who is eliminating you. Somebody who they'll put you in the national team and they will not even know how to utilize you on offense. So initially, you thought that you're going to play, but even if you're going to get selected, the man knows who he wants. The man will say, hey, look, I'm just going to go with this guy and this guy. Let's see what they can do. But yet they will ignore somebody who can actually contribute. It's going to bring problems. I even talked about Eugene Adera. Eugene Adera, he never liked playing under Coach Cliff. And I saw it even in the body language. All started when he made his debut in the AfroChan. He didn't play the final 2 games against Nigeria and Tunisia after they got eliminated, because what happened in that Moroccan game in the AfroChan 2023, it was embarrassing. And Coach Cliff blundered. Now, Eugene Adera, he played in the last window. You could visibly see he was frustrated with how the plays were being run and who Coach Cliff decided to go with. Now, that subsequently led to him even leaving KPA when Coach Cliff was the KPA coach. He was made the KPA coach. He left that. Now, he's going to be in the same situation again. Why would he play for the national team if this guy is there? Who do you prefer to be the coach? I even made a poll. And funny enough, Brad Eves is leading. Nobody wants this guy. This guy, every single year, there's no improvement at all. In the AfroChan, he won 2019 silver. In the 2023 AfroChan, the man finished 6th. So that means when you finish this in Africa, that means you have to go through the AfroChan qualifiers so that you can be able to go to the actual one. So that's the problem. It's been regression. 4 wins in 4 years is not something good to boast about. This is a man that is a failure, okay? I won't stop saying he's a certified failure who can't do anything for you or bring anything to a team. It gets very frustrating when you see these people they know where the problem is. We can see it. Why can't they see it? It's the man. He is the problem. And I've kept mentioning this so many times in videos, and I said, this is not the right man for the job. He will never be the right man for the job. Even if he tried, He's not gonna be. He will never be. And there's a reason as to why APR dropped him. I mean, it's pathetic. Insanity is doing the exact same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And the Kenya Morans are the perfect example of insanity. And the lack of seriousness and preparations for these events will lead them to get eliminated. And for some reason, in the same month, you're going to see the Lioness team, because they have very limited time, not have the ability to prepare, and they're going to get knocked off the Afrobasket. They're not even going to, I don't think they're going to be able to qualify, given like how the national team, the Lioness team, has never even played a game together. At least the Kenya Morans, you've seen them active over a year ago. The Lioness team, 2 years, they have never played together. Now, the team Morans, right? The Kenya Morans national team, they have not prepared, and it's going to be sad to see both of our national teams get eliminated in February. The Kenya Morans might not even be able to make it to the Afrobasket, given what is going on right now. So, man, it is what it is. So that's my take on this. And I said, let me just release a video to talk about this. And it's very upsetting. It's very frustrating. And I said I'm going to be releasing videos regular. Okay, I'm not going back to my usual setup, because I like to have a personal touch on things. But hey, it is what it is. So I'll resume maybe next week but one. But yeah, man, if you guys like the video, hope you all enjoyed. That's my take on the Kenya Morans, in case anyone was asking. And I'm gonna talk to you guys in the next one. Peace out.